Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of Public Health, I'm bringing before you today House Bill 398. 398 provides for legislative access to ombudsman records. And what 398 does is allows us as legislators to look at records from the Child and Family Ombudsman, of which complaints can be filed against the department through the Child and Family Ombudsman.
Chair, members of the committee, my name is Dana Toole, D-A-N-A-T-O-O-L-E. I am the Special Services Bureau Chief at the Montana Department of Justice. The Office of Child and Family Ombudsman program is in my bureau, and I'm here on behalf of the Department of Justice today to support this bill. The Office of Ombudsman really believes in transparency in any system where that's possible, within the bounds of confidentiality, of course. We also believe that it's really important for our public policy and lawmakers to have the opportunity to learn more about the inner workings of really complex child welfare systems.
Mr. Vice Chairman, members of the committee, Beth Brenneman, B-R-E-N-N-E-M-A-N, attorney with Disability Rights Montana, and we strongly support the bill. We strongly supported the creation of the Ombudsman's office and the
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is Matt Furlong, F-U-R-L-O-N-G. I'm the president of the Montana Child Protection Alliance. Was beginning to put out data reports. Those data reports began to open up to the cases that were happening in Montana where complaints of Child and Family Services Division were coming in. Prior to that, there was a process within the department for complaints to take place. But the Ombudsman gives the opportunity for oversight and to be able to look at the different complaints that are coming in. The Ombudsman gives an annual report which identifies some of the major concerns that are reported on from Child and Family Services, but that doesn't break it down in a case-by-case instance. So when the Ombudsman reports can be brought forward individually, the legislators can see more of what's happening individually and represent their constituents more.
Dave Kessler from Phillipsburg. Page 3.
Can you spell your last name?
K-E-S-L-E-R. Page 3 is a letter from Tracy Schinneberger to Director Hogan outlining the discrepancies in a CPS case I went through in 2016. I'm not here to play victim. I'm not here to say I'm the good guy, Mom's the bad guy. But this spells it out pretty darn clear. The initial report investigation was against the mother. Records indicate CPS showed preferential treatment to the mother. By intervening, the court deferred to CFS and granted CFSD authority to place and provide services. CFSD changed the parenting time and advocated for the mother to move back to a location where the court had previously ordered she not live. CFSD then moved to dismiss the case. In short, they got involved on an investigation against Mom. They moved Mom 350 miles away. We had 2 psych evals that said that Mom should not be allowed to move. The court had ordered that she not be allowed to move. This is Tracy Schinneberger's report. This isn't my words. Their reason for their removal, or for their getting involved, this is their motion to vacate temporary investigative authority, in part states the department increased each parent's parenting time to 1 week at a time and allowed Mom to take baby to Roundup during her week. This was done, now this is what really got me. This was done to determine whether or not it was unsafe. Why in the devil are we allowing CFS, whatever you want to call them, to move a child against psychiatric recommendation and against the judge's orders to a place to see if it's unsafe? This is the kind of thing that this Ombudsman report will let you see. And the more people that can see this kind of stuff, the more legislators, the more oversight there is, and the harder it's going to be for CFS to abuse the system and do this to people. Like
Ms. Smith.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Laura Smith, last name Smith. I am the Deputy Director and a branch manager here at DPHHS.
We'll open the hearing on House Bill 426. Representative Lenz.
House Bill 426 is primarily addressing the reports that the Ombudsman gives to the department.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Dana Toole, Danatoole, Special Services Bureau Chief at the Montana Department of Justice. I'm here today to represent the Department of Justice as a proponent for this bill. The Child and Family Ombudsman Office was formed in 2013 by the 2013 Legislature, and there were revisions to code in 2015 that helped clarify our roles and responsibilities. We see this as just furthering that same effort to clarify our roles, responsibilities, and expectations in law.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is Matt Furlong, Furlong. I'm the president of the Montana Child Protection Alliance. Get the support that they need, and also to keep putting out reports. So I just ask for the Ombudsman to continue doing these reports. I haven't seen the one for this last year. I'm not sure if it was produced yet or if it's available yet, but because of these increases, I think it's really important that Child and Family Services is put forward to answer to the concerns that are presented by the Ombudsman in a quicker timeline.
Mr. Vice Chairman, members of the committee, good afternoon again. Beth Brenneman, Disability Rights Montana, and the sponsor is exactly right. In 2013 and 2015, the intention was that the Child and Family Ombudsman Office would help to improve the function of Child and Family Services. And we did, of course, assume that when they wrote a report about issues that had occurred, that the department would respond to that. And that has not always happened. It certainly hasn't happened in the cases where we've asked for investigation and gotten very good findings from the Ombudsman's office, but no response from the department.
Mr. Chairman, Senators, Dave Kessler, KESLER from Phillipsburg. Hope I did it right this time. This Ombudsman, and Dana here, Ms. Toole, has been huge help for me. There are only avenue for help when CPS throws us under the bus. CPS has basically zero accountability, in my mind, other than the Ombudsman. They act as a law enforcement agency without the rules. There's no set of Miranda rights. There's no set of structures that they have to follow. They have a guidebook, and they choose to follow it or they choose not to. It's totally up to them. I'm currently involved in a mess with CPS right now, as many of you remember, and it's in my testimony that I handed out. And I called the Ombudsman's office. I called Dana again, and she was a sweetheart on the phone. Couldn't have been more helpful. But right now, they're 4 to 6 weeks behind, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe we don't know the answer, but they need more help. They need more staff. At the last time I was here, I believe, Mr. Vice Chair, you said that some money had been taken away from CPS because they were spending it on things that weren't related to their jobs. Next time, throw that at DOJ and let them hire another ombudsman. We need more than 2, please. What I've seen and witnessed and lived through at the hand of CPS is outright child abuse and a violation of my rights, my constitutional rights, and the rights of the children, and the very goal of their organization. They're supposed to be there to help kids, not hurt kids. But as you can read from this Ombudsman's report that I gave you, they're picking sides. They're deciding which parent they like, and they're throwing their weight behind that parent. They're going against judges' orders to do whatever they please. This is not in our children's best interest. And these ombudsmen, they're fantastic. They're extremely overworked, maybe underpaid. I don't know what they make. what they're doing, in my mind, is priceless if it saves a child from being hurt or killed or molested or something serious like that. This is just common sense to me. For the last several years, I've worked as a contractor and a builder. I do a lot of concrete work. When I go out to a site, I dig a hole to pour a foundation on. I have to have that hole inspected before I can lay the rebar. I have to lay the rebar, tie it all, get everything just right. I have to have that inspected. When I pour the cement, depending on which county, I have to have my cement tested and inspected. There's checks and balances for every aspect of every building that I build, but not for somebody with 1 year of college to come take my child away from me. This ombudsman's deal is huge. It is the only fail-safe we have to protect our kids when CPS doesn't do their job. I thank you again for listening to me. I know I'm not an articulate speaker. Probably really suck at this, but thanks for listening. And please, let's pass this.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Kelly Santiago, Santiago. I'm speaking today as a board member of the Montana Child Protection Alliance. Currently, the Ombudsman Office caseload of complaints against CPS is almost 5 times the size of what it was in 2014. According to the 2019 Ombudsman Report, the most prevalent citizen concerns in 2019 included inappropriate removal of children, lack of parent-child visitation, and unprofessional conduct by CPS workers. Complaints of unprofessional conduct more than doubled from 2018 to 2019 alone. This problem has persisted over the past decade with multiple audits and annual Ombudsman reports documenting concerns about CPS operations and conduct. The main issue here is accountability.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is Laura Smith. Last name, as it sounds, I'm the Deputy Director and Economic Security Services Branch Manager at the department. Thank you.
Ms. Smith, I'd like to ask, do you have a response for the claims that we have a number of requests and items pointed out and things that are sent to you from the ombudsman, but no response? Do you have a response to that?
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, yes. So I actually have personally worked with CFSD and our staff in responding to ombudsman letters. I would need to look at the exact ombudsman reports that they're referencing. We have made really strong efforts, particularly in recent years, to ensure that we are responding to those reports. So I would need to dig into those allegations a bit more to understand them, since we have been responding to those reports.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Toole, I don't know if you can, I don't know if you'll be able to answer this or not, but can you speak to the lawsuit?
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, yes, I can. So the lawsuit actually was initiated when one of the newspapers in Montana requested all of the ombudsman reports to the director of DPHHS be released to them. And just shortly, I think we notified DPHHS and talked with them about it, and we were preparing the reports. And then, this is the part where I'm not an attorney, they filed a suit, Ms. Smith may be able to help with this, to prevent us from posting the reports on the website. And then that led to a countersuit. All of that was in front of the First Judicial District in Judge Manahan's court. He did release a finding on part of those issues on January 15th, but he did not address all of them. But he did rule that the reports may not be posted online, even redacted. So we have an answer to that question now from a court. And then he ruled on a couple of the other questions in the countersuit. But I believe there are still some potentially unresolved points in the countersuit that could still go to trial if DOJ and DPHHS attorneys or leadership decide to do that.
Thank you. So Interesting. Can you speak to the reporting back to you guys from DPHHS and what that is? Is it getting better? Is there more? Is there just still quite a lack of it? Or
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, so in my earlier testimony, when I said that we appreciate this legislation because it will require consistency in both our reporting to DPHHS and their responses, what we have seen is a difference in the types and the frequency of responses depending on the administration. And also in the last year and a half, we received a letter from Chief Legal Counsel of DPHHS over at the Ombudsman Office, I think it was in December of 2019, informing us that they would not be responding to any of our reports during the period of time that there was a legal action. So we have not received a response to any of the reports that we have sent since December of 2019. That said, we did not send a large number of reports in 2020. I think we sent 7. So we have not received a response to those reports in quite a while.
thank you. Ms. Smith, you just told me that it's getting better in the last year or so, and I just heard that there's a legal letter that went out since the December of 19 that there has been none.
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, I believe I indicated in the last couple of years, and that is correct. There is a letter that we communicated to DOJ upon advice of legal counsel that we wouldn't respond to those letters. I believe, as Ms. Toole indicated, there are, I believe, 6 or 7 from 2020. I apologize if that came off incorrectly. I just know that from the last, since the time I've been here, over the last several years, our work has been pretty diligent in terms of working to respond to those letters. And so we actually have been in internal conversations awaiting the conclusion of the lawsuit. There are pending items. And so we've actually had discussions about ensuring our response to those letters that have been in a holding pattern because of the lawsuit. So that is an assurance that I can make that we are in a position that we want to be timely and respond to those reports and findings.
Came off incorrectly, yeah, I would say. Representative Lenz, would you like to close?
I would, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. But yes, good discussion. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. This, I think, I find it unusual that we've kind of gone this long and haven't had even this kind of teeth in the bill to have a positive response, a little more oversight, and affect some better change as part of this. I just think this is very much a positive. I don't approach any of this in an adversarial. I have a situation. I have, as you know, high expectations for child and family services and child protective services. But we brought this forward in 2013 because we wanted them to have oversight, to be in another department, to provide provide for solving and address any problems. And so this is one way of helping us down that road. And I'd appreciate your good consideration on this. And with that, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee.